This is the story of a boy who failed every exam, yet became a teacher no one ever forgot. His name was Arjun. Every test, every subject, he failed. No matter how hard he tried, the numbers on his report card never reflected his efforts. His classmates laughed at him. Some teachers labeled him slow. Many gave up on him. All but one, Miss Kavita. She once told him, "Maybe your marks are low, but your heart is in the right place. That's what real teachers need." Arjun didn't understand it then. But one day, he would. Years passed. While his classmates became engineers, doctors, and software developers, Arjun worked small jobs: delivery boy, assistant, helper. But every evening, he taught children from his neighborhood. No fees, no expectations. Just a whiteboard, a few chalks, and a burning desire to make sure no child ever felt as helpless as he once did. One day, a local school teacher fell sick. Desperate, the school called Arjun to substitute, just for a day. He was nervous. He had never stood in front of a classroom since he was a student. His hands trembled as he picked up the chalk. But then, something magical happened. For the first time, the students weren't afraid. They laughed, they asked questions, they made mistakes, and Arjun celebrated them. He didn't teach with a syllabus, he taught with soul. He didn't solve equations, he solved fear. And in that moment, the boy who once failed every exam became the teacher who made every student feel like they could succeed. But not everyone supported him. Some teachers at formal schools mocked him behind his back. "A failure pretending to be a mentor," they'd whisper. Parents questioned his credibility. "He doesn't even have a degree. How can he teach our children?" Arjun heard it all. And every time he felt like quitting, he'd remember the faces of the children who smiled when they finally understood something, because of him. That was his reward. That was his degree. One evening, a little girl from his class ran up to him and said, "Sir, I got full marks because you taught me how to believe in myself." Arjun smiled, but that night he cried alone. Not out of sadness, but because he realized something powerful. The world measures success in numbers, but some successes can't be counted. They are felt, in confidence, in courage, in change. Eventually, an education trust offered Arjun a chance to train other rural teachers, not based on academic results, but based on impact. For the first time, he stood on a stage with hundreds clapping for him, the same failure who once sat in the last bench. But Arjun didn't care about applause. He only cared about one thing: ensuring that no child, anywhere, would be left behind just because they were different. Years later, the same school where Arjun had once failed his board exams invited him back, not as a student, but as the chief guest for their annual day. As he walked through the familiar gate, something felt different. The air was quieter, yet full of anticipation. A teacher gently guided him toward the library. On the way, Arjun noticed something that made his heart skip a beat. The staircases leading up to the library were filled, step by step, with students sitting silently on either side, holding books close to their chest, eyes wide with respect. No applause, just quiet admiration. At the top, outside the library door, stood a plaque that read, "The Arjun Knowledge Corner, dedicated to the man who turned failure into fuel and silence into strength." Inside, the library was not filled with trophies or framed certificates. It was filled with handwritten thank you letters from children he had taught over the years. Letters from slums, villages, and small towns, now proudly placed in glass cases, more valuable than any textbook. Arjun stood there, overwhelmed, not by the tribute, but by the journey. He had once failed to open this library's door as a boy too scared to enter. Now it bore his name. Some failures are not the end. They are the beginning of someone else's success. To every student who's ever failed, and to every teacher who's been doubted, remember this: your scars can become someone else's compass, because those who fall the hardest often rise to lift others. If this story touched you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more real stories like this, and share it with someone who needs to hear it today.